All right, I'm recording this video in the half hour before the Browns playoff game starts. By the time this video gets uploaded, it might have already started, but I just wanted to make this video to kind of document both my fears and comforts heading into this game, starting with Dustin Hopkins being unable to go, Riley Patterson being elevated from the practice squad once again. If this is a close game, if this is a nail-biter, I do not trust Riley Patterson to make any of his kicks straight up. Like, I'm going to be nervous. I'm going to be hinging on the edge of my seat on every kick result, whether it's a field goal or an extra point. Doesn't matter. Guy who's not Justin Hopkins is kicking them, which means I'm going to be a little bit uncomfortable for all of those. So if it comes down to Riley Patterson making or missing a field goal, especially if it's not a chip shot field goal down in crunch time, I think that will be less than ideal for the Browns. It also looked like the Browns are going to be getting Grant Delpit back earlier in the week, but, you know, he came off of IR and was ruled out shortly thereafter. I mean, Grant Delpit, the Browns were getting some wins even without him in the secondary, but having him back there definitely would have been a huge boost. So it's going to be more work for guys like D'Anthony Bell and Ronnie Hickman, who are, they were already doing some really good jobs, but I think that Grant Delpit not being back there, that's just going to emphasize guys stepping up in this game where maybe felt like you wouldn't necessarily want them to have to, but so far guys like D'Anthony Bell and Ronnie Hickman have been more than up to the task. Denzel Ward in this game is playing, but he did pick up an injury designation a couple of days ago that left him as questionable before the game. Hopefully nothing lingering from that injury, as the defense has looked different, much for the worse when Denzel Ward doesn't play or if he's not effective. Also, no Cedric Tillman for the offense shouldn't be the biggest deal in the world, although I do think that he's been coming along fairly nicely in the past few weeks. That's also how I feel about Pierre Strong, where John Kelly has been elevated from the practice squad. He's been in the organization for a few years now. I think he gets a chance to have some shine on him. My guess is that they'll be hesitant to use John Kelly. We'll see a lot more of, Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt used before John Kelly gets some reps. I haven't felt as antsy about this game as I have for a lot of big games this season for the Browns. Maybe that's just because the Browns have had some games to be antsy about and have come out on the other side of them before. Like, I think all the way back to that 49ers game and that rematch against the Ravens in the regular season. And I think for me, some of the calming presence comes from the defense, where the Browns have had games where the offense spends stretches of the play clock being, completely stalling out and just not doing well, but the defense has been able to keep them in games regardless of what the offense has been doing. But if the Houston Texans were able to get to a fast start, like the Browns have had some tough starts on defense on the road, if they get out to a lead and the offense doesn't necessarily respond all that well at first, that's when alarm bells will start to ring off for me in this game. But even if the offense doesn't kick into a high gear immediately, so far it shouldn't be a reason to go into a panic mode automatically. Now, the defense, they've been steady so far, but it has been a little bit different away from Cleveland. They've definitely been responding to a home crowd a lot better than they have started on the road. But the defense, I'm not necessarily going to go into this game worried about them as much. Offensively is where I have a little bit more of not necessarily an issue, but just like I feel a little bit more nervous about the offense in general. But something that would calm me down early if the Flacco and Njoku connection got to work early. They were a key part in really putting that Jets game away early. And I know that this game is going to be a lot tougher than that Jets game was. But with Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore back in the offense, Njoku should be able to have some space to be open for Flacco to find him and get him some receptions. And we've all seen what David Njoku can do after the catch once he's gotten the ball in his hands. I feel like Jerome Ford has also been a pretty good running back in the passing game as well. But I'd also want to see him get some chunk yardage runs to keep Houston's defense honest and make them think about every facet of what the Browns offense can do, where I feel like the running game, if there's anything that could be shaky and could cause some offensive issues, that if the running game can't get going, that will make the Browns a little bit one-dimensional, where the Texans might be able to just sit back in coverage, could lead to some risky Flacco throws that go the other way. Flacco he's been very much willing to air it out and throw it into some tight coverage windows and anticipation throws, trusting guys. So if the coverage is able to sit back and just wait on a throw like that that could lead to some issues. Although Flacco's experience in general, that calms me down a bit. Just the way that the stage probably isn't going to get to him in the way that it would with any other of the quarterbacks on this roster. I feel like maybe even Deshaun Watson might be a little bit jittery, especially because he would be playing against his former team. But, you know, Joe Flacco in this case has taken everything in stride, good or bad, and I think that's going to be a bit of a calming presence for a team that hasn't really seen the postseason in a couple of years. And, you know, the crowd is going to be great, I think, for everyone, honestly, because Browns fans, I've already seen some of the videos. They've seemed to have traveled well for this one, but obviously the home team is also going to get a huge pop from the crowd. And just for the Browns in general, I feel like they have the expectation for themselves that they are hungry for this win. I don't think they think that they're playing with house money, right? They expect themselves to go 1-0 every week, including in this one for the wild card, where I feel like within the organization there will be some disappointment if they lose this game, where even though they've had some crazy good stories like the Joe Flacco thing and all the injury that they've pushed through this season, I do feel like it's a disappointing feeling for what the Browns expect from themselves and what the fan base has been, you know, molded to expect this season, both coming into and coming out of the regular season. And that's not to say the Texans are a bad team. I don't think it's necessarily like, oh, the Texans, there's no way they could win and be so disappointing if the Browns lost to the Texans. It's not that it's the Texans. It's just that the Browns have higher expectations than the wild card round in general. Like, Houston is a pretty darn good team when they get rolling. It's just that, you know, the Browns, they want to make some more noise in the playoffs than just making it off of a pretty good Cinderella story in Joe Flacco. But either way, the roller coaster will continue for at least one more game for the Cleveland Browns, so I'm going to enjoy the ride for however long it lasts. And that's going to do it for me in this video before the playoff game. Thank you so much for watching, made it this far into it. Let me know down in the comments what do you think about how this game is going to go, and maybe it's already started, and maybe it's already been torturing us or making us feel good, however it's going. You can let me know in the comment section below. But once again, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, as I'll see you at the next one.